All right, ladies and gentlemen.
We talked about it too. We talked about it. Hopefully the AC doesn't kick on.
Oh,
We should be good.
we'll be all right.
The microphone.
I'm gonna keep that on the camera too. It's okay. You know, it's supposed to be raw anyways,
Raw,
unedited.
authentic.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Real.
but we're back at it. Speak the fuck up.
Yeah. It's time to speak the fuck up.
It really is. For those that tuned in with us last week, you kind of got to hear the pilot, and if you haven't gotten the opportunity to, it's somewhere in the clouds.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the episode will pop up somewhere on some platform. But I feel like that was the pilot. So today we'll do a little more of a formal introduction.
Yeah.
You know,
A little more structure to
Yeah.
it, sort of.
and I guess better posture. I really don't know. Just running with it. But I guess we'll start with the intro. My name is Peter. Last week I was called Sweet Meat Pete.
I didn't know if y'all were gonna bring those back.
Now, I mean, we'll bring it back because they haven't gotten to see the pilot. I'm assuming because it's somewhere in the clouds. But anyways, we'll keep it somewhat formal. Peter, and I'll let these gentlemen introduce themselves.
Me?
Go ahead.
Hello. How are ya? No, I was playing. Yo, it's your boy Griff, a.k.a. the Professional Savage.
What's up? Hey, it's Joseph. That's all you gotta call me for this show, Joseph. No cute nicknames, and we'll go from right there.
Fuck that, I got this thing. I'm running with it.
And before we start, I don't know how them young cats be. This hood, this halfway
Damn
thing
them
is
young
like.
cat.
it's
What
like-
is
we're like
young?
pulling-
Define.
it's like-
Okay, what young cats?
I really
are you
don't know,
talking
but I'm
about?
putting this down, man. It's like pulling on my neck.
What age
feel
range
weird,
are you
don't do
talking? Yeah.
Maybe it works for them because they're like this the whole time,
Yeah.
so their chin is
Head
down.
down, all
anyways.
over the screen.
But
P, how old are you?
how old am I?
Yeah.
Oh, we throwing age into this?
I mean, we're
into
talking
the
about
mix?
young cats and stuff like that. So how old are you?
Throw it out there.
I'm 37.
Okay.
Ew. I'm 35.
Oh, see, okay. Well, so what's young to you?
Wait, how old are you?
Why do I have to tell them like, age is not? It doesn't matter when it
That's
comes to me.
a-
It's
that's
like Prince.
fair,
I
bro.
don't really believe in age. It's just it's just this thing. They supposedly tell me that I was born that day, but I don't.
He's gonna be that guy, dude. He's gonna ask us, and then he's gonna be
I'm 29. There you go.
But I got an
Are you
old
29?
So yeah, are you talking about me? Because like hoodies, like
I don't know.
you're talking about like
just-
18-year-olds.
I was about to say, yeah, maybe you meant like high school.
Yeah, junior high-ish.
All right.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay.
Wet behind
I
the
feel
ears.
like I'm out of the loop these days. You know, like I don't even know what's in anymore.
I think that's how it's supposed to go.
Wait, you're only 29?
Yeah.
Man, this whole time I pegged in for like 31, 32.
I get that a lot. I think it's the beard. If you saw me bald faced, it'd be a whole nother story.
Look at that little baby.
No,
Yeah, seriously.
That's true. That's right. Do you have pictures of you without
No.
your beard?
Nope.
Why? Because
Nope.
why? Because you look so.
They're right. It's man makeup.
Oh.
Fuck that. Wait, are we cursing?
Oh, we can. I mean,
Okay, yeah. I'm like, no. Last time I cut my beard and I was bald faced. Don't hold this against me. I interviewed to be a police officer.
Yes.
And they were like, they didn't hire me. And I called and I said, hey, yo, I've been waiting. It's been 2 weeks. Why y'all ain't hire me? And she said, well, because on your test, you said you stole more than such and such. And I was like, y'all said y'all wanted the truth.
Oh.
So I told you the
You get
truth.
punished for the truth.
So yeah, that's when I learned to lie about most things if you really need to get something done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a boy. He interviewed for a state trooper, I think in North Carolina, and lie detector test. They asked him like, "Have you ever smoked marijuana?" And he was like, "Dang!" He told me to tell the truth, and he told the truth and said yes, but it was before I joined the Marine Corps, all this other stuff, and they didn't let him on just because of that. So, yeah,
Man,
it's a hard.
That's too harsh.
it's a fine line, really,
It
because
is.
like, when are you supposed to disclose everything, and when are you kind of like, I guess maybe I shouldn't say that in an interview.
Yeah.
You know?
Basically, I think now I know if you have to question it, don't say it.
Don't say it, right?
Don't say it. Yeah. Just
When-
lie.
Yeah.
Just lie that shit
Unless
out.
you hooked up to that lie detector test.
But, I
you
mean-
know how to pass or all that.
But that's
I don't
beatable.
know, by the way. But
I don't know. I pegged you for 31, 32 because, you know.
I mean, it's only 2 years off.
Well, I mean, it's because, like, I mean, black don't crack. So, and Asian don't raisin. So, I mean, people are like, wait, you're 37? You're not 37. I'm like, yeah, I'm
I didn't think you were
37.
37.
You know, like, I mean, I know I don't act 37.
I only knew that because you told me. A
Yeah.
while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I knew your age because we were asking each other.
Yeah.
That's probably why he didn't want to say, because he's like, well, I'm not part of the 30s club yet.
Well, I mean, I'll be a part of the 30s club since it's such a exquisite group, and y'all make it seem so cool. You don't know if you want to wear your hood up or hood down. I'll be right there with you.
Yeah. But
Oh shit.
I mean, I'm excited for this week's topic.
Yeah.
Because I know we were asking each other, like, hey, what are we gonna talk about? And I was like, it's supposed to be conversational, so but I guess a conversation has to start somewhere, right?
Right.
And if you want to talk about, I mean, I don't know, we can go either way as far as like lying or a police officer. I mean, I know the two topics that we wanted to talk about today that was on the agenda was the whole civil rights movement. Because it's still on everybody's mind. It's still being talked about. It's something that should be ongoing for a while, for a longest time, until things change. And I know we understand it's a work in progress. And the other thing is the whole, I guess, the new word of the year, entanglement.
Yeah,
Entanglement.
it's been on my mind.
I think it's been on a lot of people's
It's
minds.
entangled in my thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm so corny. This is a dad joke.
Since we're talking about disclosing information,
Yeah.
or calling it for what it is,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do y'all want to talk about first?
Let's get right into it, because you mentioned loyalty and entanglement.
Yeah.
And the hot topic of the week. And I want to. Everybody's talking about Will and Jada.
Hold up, time out.
Yeah.
You're right. Everybody is talking about Will and Jada. And before we dive into this, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're
I don't
good.
want to make this conversation about Will and Jada, because that's their private life.
Exactly.
And we don't need this conversation to be about, man, how is she going to do that to my boy Will?
Yeah,
or it's
yeah.
like, if the roles were reversed,
Yeah.
how would everybody, throw Will under the bus kind of thing? And it's like, so we don't necessarily have to talk about their relationship, even though it's them two that are involved, or how this came about in the first place. But let's address that and then talk about this whole entanglement and what our thoughts are on, I guess, relationship. How we view, how society views, I guess, love, the word love, or emotions and feelings and whatnot. But yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just didn't want to make this about
Will and Jada
you know?
exclusively. And one thing I can say about that, even though people have been going off into it, I've stayed away from it. For one, like you said, it's their private life, it's things like that. But also another reason I stayed away from it is because Will has given us so much of his life and so many good things, and just to see the internet kill him and fry him. And I'm like, yo, he's done nothing but good for us. He's brought us so many gems, but the internet don't give a damn. And they're ripping him apart.
They are. And it's one of those things where, like, I saw, I guess, a post today or a meme, whatever, saying, we can all see the pain in Will's face and his eyes. I mean, I saw the moment I saw the video, and it's like, they're saying how men can say, oh, man, I can see the pain in his eyes. But when you turn it around and you're doing the same thing to your lady or your woman or your wife, girlfriend, whatever it is, but you can't recognize the same pain that they're going through. And it's like, okay, fair enough, in a sense. But it's one of those things where either people are going to look out for it. Some people wear their emotions more on their face. Some wear it on their sleeves. And there's some shit that people go through that we have no idea.
Right.
But yeah.
I mean, last thing I want to touch on just with Will and Jada before we dive off into it is apparently this happened years ago.
Right.
And that is just being brought back up to the surface. So imagine having to pick that scab off of something that you may have not completely healed from, because all it does, the only way you heal is you move further away from the period of hurt. It's over a period of time. Yeah. Now, it doesn't mean it goes away completely, but it hurts less and less and less. Now, to go back and have to cut that scar back open, because now I feel like I have to address this whole thing to people that I don't even fucking know. Yeah. And to do that, that's a whole nother level of resurfacing pain and resurfacing old thoughts and things like that for our entertainment, or for them to feel like they have to come out and address us because someone else wants to put business out.
But I'm glad you brought that up, because the whole quote of time heals. But that's only true to an essence if you allow yourself to heal, right? Because if you're not allowing yourself to heal during that time, then that time is not going to really do anything for you. Right. It's one of the things that, I mean, there's so many cliche quotes. When we say cliche, because it's cliche for a reason, though. It's one of those things where I've actually brought it up before in class, where it's like, grieve if you must. That way you're free to feel something else, right? And and not too long ago, maybe a couple of days ago on Instagram, I saw something say like, and of course I can't quote it verbatim because I don't remember, but it was something along the line of, if you don't allow yourself to heal from what broke you, you're just gonna go and find it in the next person or situation,
recreate it again,
right? Yeah. And so it is really one of those things where if you're gonna heal or whatever it is, like grieve if you really have to grieve. Because if you don't grieve, then you're gonna end up either repeating that same hurt or actually turning around and doing it to somebody else, right? Because what is it? Hurt people. But yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on that as far as relationships go?
It's unfortunate to say, but stuff like that happens every day. You know what I mean? It's not like it's something new to the public, but it's just because it's such a big celebrity name. You know what I mean? It's like, oh God, this happens. Like you probably know somebody in your family next door or something that has done that before, male or female. Shit, you probably done it yourself.
I mean, I've been guilty of entanglement. I mean, I'll be real. Like, I'm not gonna try and say I'm not gonna sit here and be like, that's something I'd never do or I never did or kind of shit. It's like I've had past that I'm not proud of, and it took time for me to learn. Right. It took the person that I'm with now to actually like put me in the position that I'm in now, as far as like where I'm at, as far as my growth goes. Right. It's funny because I was on a talk show like years ago, and they brought me on, and the topic of that show was about love. The person that I was with on that panel was an individual that's been married for 10 plus years, with his wife, and then they had me that was like single, didn't believe in love kind of thing, like jaded kind of individual, and they wanted to see the two, and if I'm not mistaken, at the time, I think me and the guy, I think we're about 10 years apart. So the host of that show did it on purpose because they wanted to see what it was like for a young mindset that is like, no, I'm not ready to settle down kind of shit. Like, I don't believe in that stuff. Versus an individual that has been through it, understands that a relationship is work, that his and his wife's relationship wasn't always rainbows and unicorns, and so it was interesting because I remember folks that actually listened to that show, friends of mine and the individual that I'm with now. I was with her then, and it's like to hear me say, I'm like, I don't believe in that shit. Like, I don't believe in love. Love is an idea. I mean, I still firmly believe that love is an idea. It's not tangible. I mean, I saw a quote the other day that said, there's only 3 individuals that are loved, quote unquote, unconditionally. A woman and her child, and a dog. And men are loved for what they can provide.
Right. Do you believe, so we're talking on the subject of love, what changed in you? What took you from the point of, I don't believe in love, and now you're about to get married?
Man, great question. I'm glad. Well, so at the time I was like, look, love is an idea because you can't measure it. It's no different than an emotion that can be changed, that can be altered based on situation, based on your environment, based on your background, what you've experienced. But to answer your question, as I've gone through it, and again through my whole entanglement for years,
right? Yeah,
like stuff that I'm not proud of. But she stood by my side. She showed me what it takes, what love is, and it took me. I guess it's one of those things where I saw the value that she brings to the table,
right?
And what she is as far as like what I was looking for in an individual, and it's like something just snapped. It's like, look, man, you can either continue down this path, or you can do something and not necessarily change for her or for that individual, but for myself. It's like what the fuck are you doing? Yeah. Like, is this something that you can be proud of? Is this something that your parents, or like my parents, can be proud of? Like, that's not the son that I raised, you know? My dad's a stand-up guy. It's funny because the stories that my parents told me, as far as like, real quick, like my mom was a refugee during the Vietnam War. My dad had a couple options at the time because my grandfather was like, look, my dad's the oldest son. He's like, I either put my oldest son in the army, I can either have him go into, priesthood, or I can send him overseas to Europe to study abroad. So my grandfather's like, well, you're my oldest son, so I'm eliminating option A and B. I'm gonna send you to Europe to study. So my parents were like, I guess they knew each other. They were like high school sweethearts or whatever, but they were separated for 10 years, man. My dad was in Belgium. My mom was, escaping by boat on the sea. She has like scars from like the ships being pirated, like cigarette burns. Like, man, if we ever get to a conversation with my mom told me, I was like, dude, like, you are a strong woman, strong individual. It's like mad respect. But anyways, my mom, so their ship got saved. She was in the Philippines in a refugee camp. My dad would write letters to the refugee camp because my mom wrote letters to my dad's family. And then my grandfather, however they got the letters back then, got to my dad. And my dad would send letters back, not knowing if it would get to my mom in the first place. But it's crazy because my mom one day finally brought out this like tin can, raggedy looking container that if there was a house fire, those letters would be gone. Yeah. And my sister and I was like, what is this? And mom was like, it's a rubber band stack of letters that my dad wrote. And I'm like, dude, this is a lost art for one, because nobody writes each other letters anymore.
Right, I'm gonna send you a nice text.
Yeah. But it's like, wait, so y'all was separated for 10 years. My dad's side of the family got sponsored by a priest who brought his family over. So my dad came over from Belgium, where he got all his degrees. He looked at my mom and then brought her over to America, and then they got married. So I was like, all right.
It's like a movie, man.
That's a hell of
So it comes down to love being an idea, but at the same time, love being a choice.
Right. Yes, you do have to choose to love.
It really is.
You
either choose to do it or you don't.
Right.
And yeah, there may be gray areas as far as, trials and tribulations and whatnot. But again, that comes down to the individual as far as, are you wanting to make this work or you don't? And that's fine, because that goes back to whatever I posted on my story today about, everybody making mistakes. But it comes down to whether that person's mistakes is bigger than your love for them, right?
Right. So do y'all believe in unconditional love?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
I don't. I absolutely don't. I think love has to have conditions. You have to put conditions on love, because I think the first thing that we do as people when we enter into relationships the first thing we give that person is our trust. And you have to put conditions on, this is what I'll accept, this is what I won't accept, this is what I'm looking for. And then you have to know to create a barrier to be able to protect yourself and create yourself so you can walk away from things. And that's how I view relationships now.
Right.
And it's probably, I've been through like some terrible relationships in the past. And kind of now it kind of hinders relationships that I get into, because I'm always looking and I'm always kind of reserved. I'm like, I'm like almost like a halfway in, halfway out, because everything has gone wrong somewhere else and you're kind of looking for it to go wrong again. So if it does happen, you don't have to pull yourself through that feeling that you get, that like that gut punch to the stomach, that sickness.
But, so do you feel like that because of those bad relationships, or did you feel like that before?
No, before I think I was just this, overly romantic, super emotional, like really down for you type of guy. And then some shit happened and I was like, hey, yo, fuck this.
That's how it was for me too. That's why for a while I felt like, like, fuck this. I don't believe in that shit. It's just an idea. But see, that goes back to reiterate on why love is an idea, because it's different for everybody else based on situations, and based on your relationships and how you want to view it. It's different now, because if you think about it, I read an article somewhere that said arranged marriage tends to work out in the long run because those two individuals learn how to accept one another and how to love and care for each other.
Yeah.
Versus And especially in society nowadays where everything is just so like, you know what, fuck you, I'm gonna do you, you do you, I'm gonna do me kind of thing, you know? And it's like, and it comes down to communication too. And correct me if I'm wrong. Like, if you can't communicate with your significant other or with an individual, whether it's a friend, an acquaintance, business partner, your wife, your fiance, girlfriend, husband, whatever. If you can't communicate, you think about it. There was an interview with was it Simon Sinek not too long ago, where he said that the younger generation now doesn't know how to communicate with each other face to face because everything is electronic. Yeah. Text message, emails, sliding into the DMs.
Yeah.
And so when they get in person or sit in front of each other, they don't know how to talk.
Right.
Can't even look you in the eye.
Right.
It's weird.
But then when they leave, it's like texting each other like it's a whole conversation.
The screen confidence.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It takes work, man. Honestly, it's.
Yeah. So what does healthy communication look like in a relationship? What does healthy communication look like to you two? Is it disclosing everything? I'm telling you everywhere I'm going, everything that I'm doing. I'm texting you all day long.
That can be unhealthy.
Okay.
Right.
Too much communication.
Too much communication.
Okay.
Can.
I mean, you didn't get hired because of that. Hey, that could be the deal breaker for your significant other too. It's like, I wish you didn't tell me that. You know?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because I mean, there's some things that you want to, I guess, keep in your past that you don't want to reveal no more.
Right.
Or you don't want to peel off those scabs like you said earlier. So, healthy communication, I would say, is just, damn. And that's something I struggle with too, because I'm a type of person where it's like I have a hard time trusting anybody, and I've been like that since I was a kid.
But see, the communication that you're talking about, is it like, am I disclosing everything that I'm doing, or is it more like, hey, what are you doing, or what am I doing that is bothering you or is affecting me, in an essence, right? I mean, to me, a healthy communication is not necessarily, well, I mean, if you did something wrong and you don't feel comfortable with telling that person, then that's more of a check to yourself. Like, you gotta look yourself in the mirror. It's like, what did you do to where you don't feel comfortable communicating that, and vice versa. To answer your question, as far as what I feel is healthy communication, is where you don't hold it in. You don't pent up rage or whatever, and then all of a sudden just exploding that individual, and you bring up like, oh, well, you did this last month, kind of thing. And it's like, well, hey, I didn't. If they don't know, they don't know.
Right. So
if it's something that bothers you, and vice versa, that's where the communication comes into play. It's like, hey, look, baby, can we talk about something? Yeah. I get what you're doing, but it's not working for me.
Right.
Like this, and this is how it makes me feel. And I asked my girl that not too long ago. I was like, we were talking about the love language, and for those that don't know what the whole 5 love languages, I would suggest that you go and Google that, look it up. Take the test and figure out what your love language is and what your partner's love language is, because there's so many different ways to show love and there's different ways to receive it. And I asked her, and I was like, hey, how do you think I show you that I love you? And how do you think you show me that you love me? And it's a good conversation. It's like, you know what? You do this for me, you do this for me, you do this for me. And that hits everything on the head for me. Like, that's how I need to receive love. And it's like, am I doing this for you? Like, do you feel like it's sufficient? Like, do you feel like I'm caring for you? Because to me, I feel like I'm showing you love, but is this your love language in an essence, right? And so that's where the communication comes into play. So to answer your question, it's more or less keeping that open channel, but at the same time, not being offended
when you don't hit something, or
right?
When you're doing
or if they
something
bring it to your attention, it's like, hey, that I don't like it when you do this,
right? Yeah.
Because if you get offended and you turn around and you just
fine.
And then you can't expect them to come and communicate with you about that next time, right?
Right.
So I guess that's where growth comes into play too, because it takes a mature person to understand. But this is where patience come to play too, man. It's like, dude, let's say what happens if I bring something up and she didn't take it the right way, or vice versa, and it's like, well, I don't want to bring it up again because then fucking I want her to react the same way. But that's where you gotta allow that person to grow into that position too.
Be able to take some constructive criticism,
right?
Yeah. And I'm giving you this feedback to make you better in the essence of our relationship for myself, and vice versa as well. So you were talking about trust as a child, like it was something that was hard for you to develop.
Yeah, because I mean, I went through shit when I was a kid, you know, sexual abuse and all that stuff. So I was like sheltered. Well, not sheltered. I say I built walls, right? So I wouldn't let anybody in unless I felt like letting them in. You know, if they did get in, it'd be just a little bit. You know what I mean? Just to show that I'm alive, kind of thing. So for me, communication is like, it's difficult because it's like, I'm like, why do you care about what I'm doing throughout the day or at work or whatever if it has nothing to do with you, right? Instead of looking at, she just, you know, she may just be interested in what I'm doing because she wants to hear my voice,
Right?
Little shit like that. You know what I mean? So in relationships, I have to like fight to communicate because I mean, I'm like, I'm not telling shit unless I have to. But when it comes to that communication, the healthy communication of like, all right, this is the way I feel about something, whatever, I'm quick to get aggressive and put up walls and like get defensive,
Right.
and shit like that. So I have to really focus and think about, okay, Griff, chill out. She's saying this shit because she cares, right? She's bringing this up because she wants this to work out.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. So it's like, for me, I have to really work at making the choice to love with my communication.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a fucking fight, man. It's a fight, but I'm a fighter too. So
Right.
But I appreciate that. I appreciate what you just shared, Griff, because that reminded me of something that I heard, or maybe I might have read, where it was like people are thinking that they need to be in a relationship to be happy, when they haven't figured stuff out for themselves yet. So until you learn how to love yourself, right? I mean, I've seen people say this all the time too. It's like, until you figure out how to love yourself, how can you show, or how can you teach the other individual how to love you? And it's something that goes back to what Josh Wise would say, you know, and it's like, was it FLY? His acronym of FLY, first love yourself. You know, and that can be anything, you know, whether it's, you know, physical attention, health wise, looks. Because if you look good, you feel good. And you feel good, you're gonna be good, right?
Right.
And it's crazy as far as like bringing it all together as far as relationship. There was a video that I saw of Drake in a conversation where he was like, "Man, I would find it, but holding on to it is a whole nother story."
It's easy.
put it all out there on the table and show the cards, see what you got.
Oh yeah,
gotta
but
bump your
see,
head
but
a
see that's the
couple
thing.
times.
You're gonna have to admit it too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you guys say, "Oh well, it is what it is." Like what you see is what you get. Like that's my toxic trait. Either deal with it or go. It's like, no, man.
Work on that shit.
If you know, like, wait, what? If you know that's your toxic trait, then
Fix
why,
it.
Why? Yeah.
Fix it. Fix it, girl.
Like, why would you want to? Like, why would you want to hold on to that? Like, that's not something to be proud
I
of.
think
Like,
that
dude.
society, or social media society, let me say that, has made it so okay to have the attitude is take me how I am, and this is what it is.
Yeah.
And instead of putting the focus on actually work on yourself. Work on yourself and make yourself better. Get past some roadblocks that you may have mentally and be able to progress to the next level. Because if you keep that mindset from right there, you're going to remain stagnant.
Right.
And you won't progress into anything new because you won't know how to function in anything new because you have old thoughts.
Yeah.
And
Stay the
nobody
damn
want to be
same.
around that. You know what I mean? And for one, that whole take me as I am, this is how I am, it's selfish and it's counterproductive, right? If you want to be this great whatever, if you're not treating yourself like you're great, so that you can grow and be greater and greater and greater, nobody else is going to surround themselves with you, right? To be great, sometimes great people surround themselves with greater people.
Yeah.
You know, that's one way to grow, right? That's really counterproductive to stay there, right?
But it goes both ways too. Like, fellas, like, put your woman on, you know, if she's doing great. Like, you know, you don't ever see a queen walk behind the king, but the same thing too, ladies. Like, you want to call him a king, but treat him like a fucking clown.
Maybe he is a clown.
You know, hey, he might be.
Maybe he has some kingly attributes, but right now he's just got to change some stuff to become that way.
Can't put a crown on a clown and expect him to be a king, right?
I mean, hey.
Man, just if you're over here talking about like, oh, let's build a kingdom together, act like it, right? Like support one another, put each other on, like you and your significant other. If he's calling you a queen and you're calling him a king, kind of thing, it's like y'all have got to be each other's biggest hype man or hype woman.
That falls into the level of loyalty.
Yeah.
I know that we had talked about that. Can you be loyal to a fault?
I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Have either of you ever caught yourself in a situation where where you served up so much loyalty and you thought it would be given back to you, and then they just burn you out like that? And how do you deal with that?
Yeah, but I chalked it up to karma.
Wait, you what? Yeah, because I mean, loyalty is big. Everybody talks about it. People get it tattooed. Not even loyal to the damn tattoo artist. You got 50,000 tattoo artists tatting you, and you talking about loyalty. So I mean, loyalty it's a big word. It's a big, you want this from somebody. That's a big thing to ask for. Saying, be loyal to me.
Wait, are you supposed to keep one tattoo artist?
The last tattoo artist that I had down in Houston, like I plan on going back to him for.
Yeah, I mean, my last guy gave me like my first tattoo artist. I got like 5 from him, and then I don't know what happened to him, and then I got 2 from my last. But what happens if you like different artists' styles?
I was just using the analogy.
Oh,
That's it.
It actually kind of goes with.
I guess it does.
Yeah. No.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No. Come on, man. It's funny shit. I'm laughing at it.
You're right. I mean, it's like.
But
damn,
like being loyal to a fault. What does it take to earn your loyalty?
Ooh.
Do we want to put that out there so people are trying to like slide DMs and like, hey, I know how to get his loyalty, because I know y'all be creeping. I know they ready.
Women just as bad as men, in my opinion.
That's true.
Yeah. Oh man, yes.
I mean, look who created the word entanglement. But you know what? Hey, we're not. Bring full circle. No, just kidding. We're not gonna talk about that person.
Damn.
I mean, I don't know.
Would y'all have done it? I'm just gonna ask it. If she texted you and was like, "Hey," and would y'all have done it?
Jada?
Yeah.
Nah.
Okay, good. No, y'all wouldn't.
No.
All right, cool. I agree.
I don't see Jada as like a sex symbol.
I don't either.
I don't know. I love Jada, but I don't see her as like, man,
like damn.
Dudes be sweating over her. Yeah, he rubbed the chest.
He rubbed his chest like, oh.
I don't look at
Okay,
it like,
we'll got that question out the way. But loyalty, what's it take to earn your loyalty?
That's tough for me.
Loyalty comes with. I feel like it's synonymous when building a relationship with trust.
Yeah.
And like I say, you give away your trust.
Yeah.
You giving away your loyalty like right off the bat.
That's a vulnerability.
You don't even know. Yeah, you don't even know this person, and you're opening up your breastplate, and you're like, here it is.
Yeah.
It's like when a dog is in trouble and they roll over on their back. And they're
was that? What was that statement on the Italian Job? Man, I'm a huge quote guy. If y'all can't already tell, for our audience right there, I throw quotes at you all day. There was a Oh, I remember what it is. I think it goes. I trust everybody. I don't trust the devil in them.
That's good.
I think that's a quote in the Italian Job.
It makes sense.
Somebody can look that up and let me know. Man, we need to Google this person.
It makes sense though.
You know what I'm talking about?
Screen Man.
Yeah. I think Joe Rogan has it.
Yeah, and Joe Budden, they call him Screen Man.
That's yeah. It's like, hey, can you verify the information?
Yeah. So I trust everybody. I don't trust the devil in them.
Something like that. I think it was Charlize Theron. That's
the lady, right?
Dude, not Charlize.
Yo, she was in that. I just saw the movie Old Guard.
Oh yeah, dude,
such a good movie.
All right, well,
no.
Yeah. It's all good. No, it's all good.
Earn my loyalty, I would say for me, is being there, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily just right next to me at every waking moment. You know what I mean? But just if I reach out and if I call, if I text, you text right back, you answer the phone, whatever. Even if it's just hey, I just want to hear your voice. I need to hear somebody that I love. You know what I mean? I just need to hear something. You know, and it's just, hey, how you doing? Whatever kind of thing. So for me, it's
somebody being readily available, or
not necessarily readily available, because that makes it seem like it's like you
weren't there. Like I need you right now.
It's just knowing that they give a shit about me.
Yeah, there you go.
If I can reach out,
I
need them.
Like they care,
right? You know what I mean? That's for me. That's how you earn my loyalty.
Right.
You know what I
Man,
mean?
there's
I
so
know
many-
people aren't perfect. There's gonna
Yeah.
be times where I may reach out, you may not be, but you recognize that that's what I need.
Yeah, there you
And
go.
you make yourself available.
That's what I was
for
gonna
that.
say. I think there's so many different aspects to loyalty, and everyone has a definition that'll be like, yeah, me too, or yeah, that me, oh, yeah, you know what, yeah, that too. It's like I think it's like small attributes that make it like make one big picture. Like for me, I think it's one of those where, okay, you heard me, but did you listen? You know, like I already done told you that I don't like it when you do that. You know, maybe when I told you once, maybe you need to be reminded, or because it takes it could take some time before the individual understands
Right.
or realizes what they're doing, but as long as they're trying,
Right.
I think for me that's top of my head right now. That's how I would say, as far as loyalty goes. It's like, all right, cool, we've had that conversation. You heard me, but did you listen?
Right.
Or is it one of those things where like I heard you, but I ain't gonna do a shit about it. You know?
I'm gonna choose to not do shit.
Do you think you can tell where a person's loyalties lie based off of the patterns of things that they do, what they pay attention to, and how consistent they are in other things?
Man, I'm glad you said that, dude. That patterns.
Yeah.
It really is. Pay attention to the patterns, man, folks.
People repeat them.
Yeah, they do, folks. Pay attention to the fucking patterns. I don't care what they tell you. Just, it really is. If you don't know, pay attention to the patterns. That it will tell you everything you need to know.
Does that, now paying attention to a pattern, does that, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Does that hinder you from realizing when a person is actually changing? Because now you're looking for them to always
You're always
be
looking
what
for
they
them.
were.
Yeah. Could be.
See,
say it
this
could.
shit
See,
is
that's
tough.
It is. That's why it takes
Yeah.
work.
That's why love
That's
is a
why it
choice.
takes work.
Yeah.
And it's a choice.
Choice.
You know?
It's a choice. You can walk away or you can stay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that mistake greater than your love for them?
Yeah.
Been there, done that.
Damn, sometimes
I think
you
it's
walk away too
ongoing
late.
work, man. It really is. You know?
Sometimes you walk away too late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Or
go way too
sometimes you
early.
walk way
That's
too
true.
early.
That's true too.
It's a fucking choice.
And you're always, and you got to think about it. It's two people or three or four, depending on what you like.
Hey.
But it's people that are also individuals first, and you're always going to be changing. You're ever changing. You're ever evolving in yourself and in your relationship and things like that.
If you were to give an advice to say like someone that we can view like as a younger brother kind of thing. This dude right here, you know.
Just started talking to a girl.
Yeah, you know.
How about I'll let y'all go first. Y'all give them the
some
older
advice.
words of wisdom, and I'm laying on you real. All right.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
If you were to give advice to somebody that either, you know, it doesn't matter if they're younger than you by a year, 10 years, 5 years, because age is really just a number. But or even if it's like a younger you, like what advice would you give them about relationships or love or just, you know, being a companion?
Damn, that's a good one.
And remember, folks, before we like, it's all situational. It's in your environment, what you've experienced, what you're allowing yourself to experience. But if you were to give just like
A generalization.
like just general advice, like top of your mind, right, what you feel is the most important, what would you say? You pay attention, Andrew?
Do you know? All right. Y'all got something? I got something.
Go ahead, man.
What I would say, I'm talking directly to you, is I feel like it's a hard thing to do now, and you rarely, seldomly see it, is keep your relationship between you two.
Thank you.
Yes.
Because so often we'll go and post something on social media. We'll go, and I'm not talking about posting pictures and nothing like that. We'll post a problem in our relationship on social media. We'll do this, we'll do that. Also, another piece of advice I would give is if you're in a relationship with somebody and you feel like confiding in someone, first of all, you need to make sure that you're confiding in a person that has good intentions for you. Second of all, you need to confide personally, I feel, in the same sex. If you're a guy, don't go complain to another girl about your girl. If you're a girl, don't complain to another guy. If your sexual orientation is outside of like a heterosexual relationship, you know what you like. Stay away from complaining to who or what you like, because that opens doors for yourself and your mind for you to go off and start planting seeds elsewhere and take your talents to South Beach, baby. Yeah.
Miami.
Yeah, baby. I'm in here now. I'm in an entanglement. Yeah.
Why bring sand to the beach?
Yeah, you know.
Oh, man.
Not two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not 3, not 4.
Did he say 7 or 8?
Yeah.
Some shit. That would be my piece of advice.
You got something, Griff?
Yeah, I got something, man. I would
Got something
say,
for our little guy over here.
I would say, going to the communication thing. Listen, right? Listen and pay attention, right? Watch out for the patterns, but also listen to what she says, right? That's so important because a lot of times you get into that argument. It's like, you didn't even hear what I said. You didn't even listen, right? And it turns into you're being selfish, right? Listen and pay attention. Hear it, listen, pay attention, right? Yeah, that's the basis of communication is listening. Not always being quick to speak, right? But listening. You know what I mean?
It's
and let her
huge.
know that you hear.
That's huge.
You know what I mean?
Communication, listen. I know we're running low on time, so I'll keep mine short but to the point, and then we'll wrap it up or whatnot. But if I was to give you advice, or just really not just to you, but to anybody's listening or watching, us, it's one of those things where you got to understand that where you're starting, you are evolving, but so is your person. So you got to allow each other to grow into it. Communication is huge. Understand that, as you continue to grow and evolve, things change, right? And who knows, you may or may not even be with each other for the rest of your life. But if you are, hey, that's awesome. But understand you can keep that open conversation, figuring it out. This is my love language for now. But as I continue to evolve and realizing that, what I told you last year or how I need to be loved, that's not me anymore. And but understand that's not just you, but you gotta allow that person to do the same thing as far as their evolution and their growth goes as well. And so that's where the whole listening comes into play. But if I was to say that, it's like figure out what it is for you that works for you. Let them figure out what works for them, but communicate with each other and continue to bounce that off each other. It's like, hey, and if you appreciate them, let them know you appreciate them. Don't assume that they know you appreciate them because, man, words of affirmation can go a long ways, even if it's at the bottom of their love language. That could be the 5th love language, and it still goes a long way because who doesn't like to be appreciated, even if it's something small. You know what I'm saying? But continue to keep that open line of communication. It's like, hey, am I showing you that I love you the way you need to be loved, and vice versa? But understand y'all are both continuing to grow and evolve. And allowing each other that.
Last thing I want to touch on before we go, because we touched on the love languages. Do you know all 5?
I do.
What?
I think I do.
So
Words
what
of
are they?
affirmation.
Acts of service,
Quality time.
Quality time,
quality time,
gifts, and physical touch.
And physical touch.
Yeah.
There you
All
go.
right. Do you know yours?
Yeah.
Just name what's your top one?
physical touch.
That's why he was
Okay, physical touch. How many times have you taken the test?
Twice.
Has
That
it ever
one hasn't changed.
Has it changed?
That one hasn't. That's my strongest one.
Yeah.
Which was like 11 or 12?
Second, I can't remember what the number is, but it hasn't.
That's the top one.
That's always the top.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was worse. No, it was. Damn, what was it? I think it was quality time. Was the second, and then the second time I took it, it was words of affirmation. Yeah.
Yeah. Mine changed.
Yeah.
But it's been like a good 10 years. Maybe closer to 7 or 8, but 10 sounds better. Since I've taken the test. In the beginning, it was words of affirmation. Like, dude, feed my ego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me
Tell me how. Like, damn, you're so sexy.
That's right.
No, but now it's more. Now it's acts of. Was it small? Like
Acts of service.
Acts of service. And quality time. Because man, time is something that.
Precious.
It is, man. Because everybody's so busy these days doing your own thing that when you actually make time for the individual, that should be something that should not be taken for granted.
Right.
And that's something that people should recognize. It's like, dude, he or she didn't have to hang out with me or spend time with me, but they chose to. They made time for me. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
What about you?
It changed. At first, it was physical touch. And you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I just wanted to bang, bruh. I just was there for that ass. I'm just gonna be real. Physical touch. touch me, baby. Okay. And then a couple years
Feed his
later,
ego in a different way.
I think a couple years later, I think it switched actually over to time. And then like physical touch dropped all the way down because I stopped caring about it. I felt like a part of me, you know, as far as like sex, it just kind of like, I was just like, all right, like,
Yeah.
I've been there, like, cool.
Been there, done that. You know,
And then,
it's old.
yeah, I just remember my last one, and it's a big deal, is, you know, gifts. I don't care about gifts.
Same.
But I have to be consciously aware of being with a person who does care about gifts. Because
Right.
to me, it's like, you know, I don't think about it. Yeah. But when it's their turn to get something, they're expecting this thing. And I'm just like, yo, like, you know. So, yeah, like you say, it's important to speak that, to make the choice to speak their love language back to them and go from there.
I was gonna say you can't have the same. If you don't have the same one, you got to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Be cognizant that you have to love the way that they want to be loved, not the way you want to be loved.
Absolutely.
Right? Expect that from them, but you can't do that. You can't love. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
You know, just you got to pay attention to each other's love language.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, for those that have actually stayed with us this entire time, we really do appreciate you taking the time to show us some love. But feel free to comment, you know, chime in if you want to or not, you know. Let us know how you feel. I know we don't have any females at the table. We were wanting, you know, a female's input, perspective, thoughts on that. So, you know, if anybody wants to join us, let us know. You know, and again, appreciate, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if y'all have like a catchphrase that y'all want in with. Or,
yeah.
The email.
You know.
Do we have an Instagram yet?
We do have an email.
We have an email.
We'll share it. Yeah, we'll share it. That way it's not muffled in this. I mean, they can actually see it, you know. Like, I guess our guy will
be right there?
Right here, you know.
Oh,
like, right
gosh,
here,
Point down.
yeah, right here. Yeah.
That is so exciting to me.
I know,
don't
right?
know.
Right? Yeah,
That's
yeah.
great.
To see it all put together.
Yeah,
man.
right here. I don't know if y'all have like,
Plug your social.
yeah, do we have a catchphrase? You know how Ron Burgundy does it? Stay classy. There you go.
I'll come up with one for next time.
Until it's time to speak the fuck up.
Yeah.
My name is Joe. This
I'm
is
Peter.
Griff.
Ladies and gentlemen, be brave with your life.
Like LL.